because this is the first event that we're getting back into now that the world is somewhat opened up. So I'm
Yes.
super excited that this gets to be the first event, especially with kids and what we do and all of the kids that we work with, special needs, and so forth. So Priscilla, welcome to this live interview. You will be there on Saturday. Can you tell everybody why you're going to be there and what you're going to be presenting?
For sure. So first of all, thank you. Thank you for having us. So what I will be doing there, I will be actually sharing a little bit about my book. I'll do a live reading. We'll have a couple of things for the kids to do, but more importantly, I want to really inspire the children and the kids to imagine and to be able
Mm-hmm.
to go above and beyond and not be afraid of imagining and wondering and questioning, if you will. So the book that I wrote, it's called All Things Purple, and here's a little preview of it.
That is awesome.
And within the title, there's a question there, and it says, "Wait, what are purple things?" And the whole purpose of the book is really to not only go through the colors, but more important to question and wonder, why are things blue? Why do they have to be red? Why do they have to be a certain color? And certain things we know fundamentally are a certain color, such as an orange is orange, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But within a child's imagination, as they're growing and developing, I think it's very important for them to be okay with going in different directions and wondering and questioning, being able to imagine, because that's only going to enhance as they get older and as they get
Right.
into adulthood. And so towards the book, it's, towards the middle, it's basically two little girls having a conversation. The older one, knowing, because she's older and wise, that
Mm-hmm.
no, the sky is actually blue. And the little one questioning, well, why is it blue? Why can't it be purple? And as they're going through the journey and the conversation, the older one starts to realize, well, you know what? If you imagine, it can be anything you want it to be as long as you imagine. So if you see purple, if you see purple broccoli, so be it. And I think that's the beauty of it. And so when we started talking about this idea with Judy, and we were coming up with themes and names, it just kind of fell into place because I told her, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, my book is about imagining. It is about questioning
Right.
that
Right.
status quo. And so then we came up with, Imagine a Book, which I think it's a beautiful notion, especially for children, and allowing them
Mm-hmm.
to be able to have that. And it's also one of those things that it's literacy based, and kids, as they get older, they start to lose that sense of wonder. And given the, COVID and everything that we unfortunately lost, the time,
Mm-hmm.
giving them an opportunity to go back into that wonder, that feel of, what can it be? What if this was to happen, or what if this was be? And so I think that's one of those big events that it's going to allow us to be able to hopefully
Yes.
capture the minds of the little ones and even older ones. I feel like
Yes.
I'm a
Yes.
kid
Yes.
at heart still. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're hoping to be able to accomplish that into um, for a community.
Yeah. Don't ask any of my friends; they will tell you I'm for sure a kid at heart, and and
It's a
in
good
play.
thing.
Like I just go out there. Um, did you have any specific motivation on why you wanted to write this book, or was it just an idea because you like working with kids and it's like I'm going to go for this? But was there any specific one motivation?
Um, so yes and no. For me, growing up, I've been writing since I was young. I kind of saw it as
Hmm.
a medium to kind of relieve stress and kind of like honestly writing therapy. I never thought myself as a actual writer until much later in life. But it's something that I started doing early on, and I found a lot of value in.
Hmm.
And this is actually something that I tell my students all the time: is listen, no one needs to read what you write, but just write, because it's a way to be able to get your thoughts out. And the more
Hmm.
you write, the more you fall in love with the art, because it becomes liberating in a sense. So I started doing it, especially during my teen years, adulthood, big. I do it all the time. And then as I started having my children and working with students, it became something that more of a passion. And the inspiration behind the book itself, I've always wanted to write, but I never thought I could actually do it. Well, seeing my children, I have two daughters that at one point were having a conversation, drinking juice boxes, and just the stuff that they were talking about it inspired me. Because if we were to, at one point or another, it, ideally, think like a child at one point,
Mm-hmm.
we can get so much accomplished in a way because they have that freedom, that creativity to just imagine and hey, let's try it out if it works out. And so seeing them have that conversation kind of lended itself. And as
Yeah.
they were talking, it kind of inspired the idea itself. Purple, because I do like purple, but it was actually what we're at that time, I think they were I want to say a 1 and maybe 3, and they were having those conversations. So we're going over colors and so forth. So it just really became,
Mm-hmm.
an idea that I meshed together. But the writing itself is something that I also wanted to do to experience it myself, but also to be able to share with my students. I'm a big proponent about this. I want my students to understand and know that, listen, you have the potential to be able to write your own story because you certainly have a story
Right.
to share and has value. So I guess demystifying the whole process is one of those things that really encouraged me to want to try it as well. So.
That's awesome, because I was actually going to ask you a couple of follow-up questions with that. How long did it take you to actually come up with the idea and then write it?
Okay, so the actual idea probably, well, when I kind of saw it, it was like a spark.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of interviews of writers. They're like, "How do you get your ideas?" Honestly, sometimes it just comes, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it'll just like be like small little fragments, and then later on, like months later, I'm like, "Oh my god, that works!" And then I just kind of run with it. So that took a couple of months. The process itself of writing and editing, and I do a lot of it's called storybook drawing, I believe. It's you kind of draft out the pictures and what's going to go, the words and everything. That takes a little bit longer because now you're getting a little bit more into the logistical side.
Mm-hmm.
So it took about maybe about a year, and then we're
Okay.
also doing the whole process of getting an illustrator, getting the prints, going over, editing, all that whole process. So it does take some time.
It does take some time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think anybody could do this? Because I'm sure that we have a lot of people that are watching that are like, oh man, I can't do that. I have some good ideas, but it seems like it's too hard. Which I'm sure there was some difficult moments, right? But
for sure, yeah.
You were able to get through it. And you mentioned the line about your kids and wanting to instill them that they can do it. They can write a book if they wanted to.
Right. Yes. So I honestly, I will tell you, I think anyone can do it. I believe in that wholeheartedly because I myself was my biggest, I think, stumbling block. I would always doubt myself, and it's hard being transparent, but that's honestly the truth. And so I feel like even if the notion or the idea is small, don't let that go because that can grow into something greater. And you don't know who you might impact in the future with that small little idea that, years later, it actually looks huge to someone else, It's all about perspective. Now, if it's something that you really believe in, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say the first draft is going to be perfect, and that's okay, right? That's the whole purpose. You want to keep, growing and developing. One of those great things that I tell my students, I say it's great because, I really believe it, is that if you don't know something, or if you're not good at something, that's okay. That's like the perfect opportunity to learn something new.
Right.
And I think that's how I saw this process. I had zero clue on how to write a book, how to go about the process. And believe it or not, I am still learning more about it. I pretty much write every day. And at times it looks like I'm sitting down writing, but most of the time I'm writing in my head. I have these ideas all just floating about in my head, or I write like small little words or phrases. And then later on, I have like this couple of, actually shout out to, Dollar Tree, because I found these, and I show these to my students all the time. I found these cheap notepads that are $1, and I love those things. I have a ton of those, and I'm just scattered about with ideas or drawings or phrases, and that's how I start compiling and putting those ideas together. So I believe that if anyone really is passionate about it, or maybe you just want to start as a hobby, go for it. Why not? You never know what it can what it can turn into. Now it is a little bit of work, and as you start getting more serious about it and doing the editing process, and you have to be committed to what you're doing, but with that notion that, hey, this is not only for yourself, but it can be for someone that you might help out, and you might not even know how or why. So why not, right?
Yeah, I always tell people that this is the best time to be alive because we have so much access to help. Not just when it comes to I work for Esperanza Therapy Services, and so behavior therapy, not just in that, but in anything, in writing a book. If you want to write a book, go on YouTube, type in how to write a book, how to write a children's book. And there's so much help out there. And then classes and, words and art. And then you go to Fiverr and get some people to draw some stuff. There's so much out there, and so many people that are willing to help. So I am super excited to see this book. I work with some kids, and I had them write a book last year, and then I printed it from Shutterfly, and then I gave it to their parents. I had them draw pictures and write a book, and so I did a flip book. So that was a fun process. So it's like, it's there, you can do it if you want to do it just for yourself, but if you want to do it where you print a bunch of them up and then sell them, it's there too. It's been so easy. I mean, with places like Shutterfly and all these other places.